hidden facts unfolding. TV films with legal flair, real verdict taking you there.
Welcome back to Real Verdict, where we break down your favorite movies and TV shows from a legal perspective. Today, we're diving into the original Knives Out, 2019, set in Massachusetts, a film packed with family drama, deception, and legal complexity around wills, trusts, and estates. We'll be covering the differences between testate and intestate succession, as well as the roles of executors and administrators. Plus, we'll take a closer look at how the Massachusetts Slayer Rule, outlined in Mass General Law, Chapter 265, Section 46, could affect inheritance. So let's dive into the Thrombey family and the legal chaos surrounding the death of their patriarch, Harlan Thrombey. Let's start with a quick recap. The film centers around the death of Harlan Thrombey, a wealthy mystery novelist who dies under suspicious circumstances just after a family gathering. While initially believed to be a suicide, Detective Benoit Blanc is hired to investigate, suspecting foul play. At the heart of the legal intrigue is Harlan's will, which leaves his entire estate to his nurse, Marta Cabrera, cutting his family out. But what exactly does that mean from a legal perspective, especially under Massachusetts law? First, let's define a few key terms. Under testate succession, a person dies leaving a valid will, which directs how their property will be distributed. In intestate succession, someone dies without a will, and the state law determines who inherits. Harlan Thrombey dies testate because he left a valid will, but let's dive deeper into how this all works in Massachusetts, where the film is set. In Massachusetts, if Harlan had died without a will, meaning intestate, his estate would have been distributed according to Massachusetts intestacy laws. These laws prioritize close relatives like spouses, children, and parents. In Knives Out, Harlan's will overrides the default intestate distribution, and that's why his family is shocked when they're completely cut out of the estate in favor of Marta. If Harlan had died intestate, his family members would likely have received the bulk of his fortune under state law. Now, when someone dies testate, they typically name an executor in their will, which is the person responsible for managing the estate, distributing assets, and ensuring that the will's instructions are carried out. In contrast, if someone dies intestate, the court appoints an administrator to handle these duties. The administrator's role is similar to that of an executor, but is assigned by the court since no will exists. In Knives Out, it's implied that an executor would be appointed to oversee Harlan's estate and carry out the will. However, Harlan's sudden death and the controversial nature of the will could lead to legal battles over the validity of his testament, as well as who should serve as executor. Interestingly, executors have a fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of the beneficiaries named in the will. This means that the executor would be responsible for ensuring Marta, as the sole beneficiary, receives Harlan's assets according to his wishes. So, what happens when the heirs don't agree with the will? In Massachusetts, just like in many other states, wills can be contested under certain circumstances. The most common grounds for contesting a will include lack of testamentary capacity, undue influence, and fraud. First, testamentary capacity refers to the mental state of the testator, Harlan in this case. The law requires that the person creating the will understands the nature of their assets, the beneficiaries, and the effect of the document. Harlan appears mentally sound in the film, which weakens any claims against his capacity. Next, there's undue influence, where someone pressures or manipulates the testator into changing their will. In Knives Out, the family accuses Marta of manipulating Harlan, claiming that because she was close to him, she unduly influenced his decision to cut them out. However, the film shows that Harlan made this decision independently, out of guilt for his family's behavior, making an undue influence claim difficult to prove. One of the most interesting legal issues in Knives Out is the Slayer Rule, which is codified under Massachusetts law in Mass General Law, Chapter 265, Section 46. This law prevents someone from inheriting if they have unlawfully caused the death of the testator. In other words, you can't benefit from a crime you committed. In the film, Marta believes she accidentally caused Harlan's death by giving him the wrong medication, which would invoke the Slayer Rule and disqualify her from inheriting his fortune. However, the twist is that Harlan actually took his own life to protect Marta, meaning she didn't commit any unlawful act. Therefore, under Massachusetts law, the Slayer Rule wouldn't apply, and Marta remains the rightful heir. This legal twist is crucial because it clears Marta of any wrongdoing and ensures that she can inherit the estate as Harlan intended. Without this key detail, Marta could have been disqualified under the Slayer Rule, completely changing the outcome of the story. Although the film focuses on Harlan's will, trusts are also a common estate planning tool, especially for the wealthy. A trust is a legal arrangement where one party, the trustee, holds property for the benefit of another, the beneficiary. Trusts can be used to avoid probate and provide more control over how and when assets are distributed. It's possible that Harlan could have used a trust to manage his estate more privately, but in the film, his decision to use a will instead sets off the dramatic reading that sparks the family conflict. In Knives Out, we get a fascinating look at how wills, trusts, and inheritance laws can shape family dynamics, especially when significant wealth is involved. The Massachusetts Slayer Rule, Mass General Law. Chapter 265, Section 46, plays a critical role in determining who can inherit, and the film cleverly weaves this legal concept into its thrilling plot. The movie highlights just how important proper estate planning is, especially when everything's on the line. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Let me know which legal mysteries you'd like me to tackle next. This has been Samantha, and I'll see you in the next episode of Real Verdict.